Hey y'all. Okay, so today I want to walk around and talk about some stuff because we have some things that are changing again. So one of the first things that we're doing is we're actually running irrigation all around this area so that we don't have to have water tubs or troughs over there anymore. You know, they get dirty really fast, so to keep fresh, clean, cool water going to all of the animals at all times, we're gonna run irrigation to everything. For the goats, we're gonna try something that I saw at a different farm when we went to pick up one of ours, actually Ada. When we went to pick her up, her farm had like hog watering nipples that they use for their goats, and I had never seen that before, and she knows how to use it. So we're gonna use those for all of our goats, and we're gonna see how it goes, I guess. So we have a big bundle of PVC, and then here's the first trench that Jerry dug, and he's got a piece of PVC in there. So we're gonna go all the way up to the well house and then over and back so that there will be water in all of our rotational grazing paddocks and water to the rabbits and the chickens and everything. Now the next big thing that's going to be changing is these nighttime stalls where we have been keeping our goats. If we are inside the shed for too long, the goats will start jumping and banging on the side of the shed. And when I tell you that it is terrifyingly loud when they do that, it like gives me anxiety, and it really is not fun, especially if I'm in the middle of milking a goat. So we're moving them away from the shed because I can't stand it anymore. Hey Mordecai, how you doing, buddy? You're starting to smell a little Bucky, you know that? Are you coming into rut maybe? If you look at the property out here, it's pretty obvious that we're just gonna have to rearrange everything because there's nowhere else for us to just move these. So here's our plan. On this side of this shed is where we were keeping the bucks. They were in that little area, but then once we moved the girls out into the pasture, they had the whole thing. But I think this is the area we're gonna tackle first as far as taking all of this down and rebuilding. So the boys are over here for a while. This old buck pen is going to be our new chicken coop. We're gonna move the actual coop part and put it right here and then fence in the whole area with a different kind of fence, and then they're gonna have a massive run. Actually enough so that we're gonna be more than doubling our laying flock. Now we won't be doing that right away. I have plenty of laying hens for our family. We don't need that many eggs, but I would like to be able to start giving them to friends and family and you know, have that option later. So we'll be getting chicks sometime, but of course we have to build the new coop first, so you know, one thing at a time. So this is the pen that the bucks are in right now. You can see Mordecai and Becker is over there. This area we're actually going to be putting our rabbits. We're gonna move all of that over and build an actual little barn over top of them. One of my big hopes with moving the rabbits over here is that it's actually a lot more shady. Where they are right now is kind of out in the open, and it's a little extra sunny during the day, so they get warm. And having them nice and in the shade and a lot closer to a power source where I can put a lot of fans out there will be really nice for them. Now we get to the current rabbit barn situation. Anyways, this is all gonna be moved. It's gonna go over there. And then we're going to bring in several loads of dirt to raise this area up. And we're building a goat barn right here. Lately we've been having an issue with our goats, specifically with Selah. You know, she has been kind of sick lately. We figured out what the problem was, but in order to get her good and healthy again, it really helps if I have a place to put her by herself to eat all of her food before I let her out with the rest of the goats for the day. So with this new barn plan, we will have stalls, little stalls, just like a 8x4 stall for the goats to sleep in overnight, or in Selah's case where I need to give them special care, that's the plan there. So that'll be half of the barn, and then the other half will just be a really large run-in where the goats always have access to get in there. Are you broody? Maybe. You gonna have some chicks? Might have to order some eggs to put under you. Wow, standing here, the chicken coop looks a little rough. But this part of the coop, the actual coop, is what we're gonna move over to the new run area. We're gonna take this down, we'll use it for something else, I'm sure. But then this area, this nice large space, is going to be our buck pen. Since we do have Mordecai, and right now we have Becker, but he is being raised for meat, so eventually he'll have another roommate. This needs to be a nice large area since there's a large part of the year that they won't be able to be out with the rest of the herd. So we're gonna make a nice big pen. We are going to add in a little bit of dirt to raise their house up off the ground so that when it rains it doesn't look like that. This is our old pig pen, if you haven't been around here long enough for that. We used to have pigs in here. We've since started taking the pen apart. Our plan here is that for the pigs, we're going to extend that way. So it'll be about twice as big as it is now. We're also going to bring in some soil and make their house and a little area off to the side a lot taller so that when it rains and downpours like this, they have a dry place to get to. Now the goal is to eventually add in enough like pine shavings and dirt and everything to raise the whole thing up so that it's not holding water like this. But that's kind of a tall order, especially for right now when we don't even have pigs. It'll be several months. So this part is not like majorly important right now, but it will be. Excuse me. So far, having the goats out here on pasture is really nice. I am really loving having the goats out here on pasture. They've been on this same area for probably 2 weeks, or getting close to that at least. So it's definitely time to move them. I really only want to have them in one area for maybe 6 days at the max. So it's time to work on their next pasture. The next area we're gonna work on for the goats is actually our side yard here. Our garden is right around the corner. So we're just gonna run a few strands right here and then a couple on this backside, and that should be good. Rotational grazing, this area is just going to be temporary until we have our whole garden set up. Right now, we have our 4 beds, and that's probably about a fourth of what I want to have up there. But for now, since we don't have anything up there and we have lots of grass and we have goats that need to eat, we're gonna use that as a pasture. Actually, we're gonna use it as 2, split it up in half. Which brings me to something else. I had only planned on splitting this backyard into 2 pastures. But I talked to a friend about it, and we figured I could make smaller areas and graze them, you know, shorter times. So like 3 or 4 days instead of like a week. And that just helps the grass come back better and better every time. So we're gonna split both of these in half, and then we'll have 2 up here. So that gives us 6 just in our yard on this front acre. And then that back acre, I believe we're splitting it into 8. Hey, Pharaoh. Pharaoh is really enjoying having the goats out here and having something to protect. We slapped together this nice big shelter before we went out of town because we knew we were leaving the goats out in the pasture. So it's actually worked out pretty good. They've been hanging out in there, except for Ada, because she just sits on that thing the whole time. So update on Selah, she's doing fairly well. We did have a couple of days there where she seemed like she was doing worse, and we figured out it was because the other goats were not letting her eat her peanut hay. So we have to put her by herself first thing in the morning, let her eat all the food that she's supposed to, and then she gets to come out to the pasture. And so far that's been working a lot better. We have a lot of projects going on. I'm really excited to get a lot of them done because I think they're really gonna up our ability to take care of animals very well. It's gonna be fun, but it's starting to get really hot here in South Georgia, so it's gonna be a little difficult to get things done. So I just wanted to update you guys and tell you about like our plans, that are changing because we just rearranged the property not that long ago, and here we are doing it again. It is getting very hot. As you can see, I have got some sweat going on because it's very humid today and disgusting. So I'm gonna go inside in the AC and try to clean up my disaster of a home because I have a toddler. And that's gonna be what I do with the rest of my day. If you enjoyed hanging out in our little corner of YouTube today, please consider liking, sharing, or commenting down below. This just tells the YouTube algorithm that you enjoyed this video and that it should show it to other people. And it's a really non-committal way of supporting us. Now, if you feel like committing to us, you can subscribe and hit the notification bell, and that just means you're gonna get a little pop-up every time we put out a new video. If you'd like to get to know us on a little bit more personal of a level, a great way to do that is to check us out on Instagram. I post there on a daily basis. If not an actual post, then I'm updating our stories pretty regularly. It's a great place to see things as they're happening instead of on YouTube, where there's generally a little bit of a delay. Okay, I'm like really sweating now, and I want to go inside. So, thanks for hanging out. Until we meet again. Bye, y'all.